Real True Education, not fake news. It's the 4th of October. You're welcome back. This video is about the British / Australian politician, Green Party member, Natalie Bennett. It's number 818G and it's part of my attack on green politics. And among the things she wanted to do was abolish the monarchy, boycott Israel, and bring in polygamy. A man could have up to 4 wives. I don't know whether a woman can have 4 husbands. Clearly it's to placate or to draw in any bit of Muslim vote that might be out there. Nothing wrong with Muslims, but polygamy is not part of the law of Britain or Ireland or anything like that. And she was born in Australia to working class parents and worked for a while as a journalist and various things. And she came to Britain in 1999 and she joined the Green Party. She has a partner and he's a member of the Socialist Workers' Party. So it's very, very, very important to understand that the Greens are just another branch of communist socialism. That's what they are. They're a globalist communist socialism. They view the world as one big entity without borders or anything else, and so they're the very same as all of the left-wing parties. So in the 2015 election in Great Britain, she was interviewed by Nick Ferrari on LBC News. It's a news thing, and she said that among the policy she had was 500,000 new council homes for British people. And she was asked how much it would cost, and she said 2.7 billion. She hadn't a clue what she was talking about. I worked that out myself. You can do it yourself if you like, but I just worked it out on the calculator. It'll be £5,400 per house. And Ferrari rightly asked her, are they made out of plywood? And what about the land? Now we're going to try and bring you that interview, and I'm going to pause here now for a moment.
The Greens will ensure everyone has a secure, affordable place to live. How would that be brought about?
Well, a couple of things that we want to focus on here. In terms of council housing, we want to build...
Now there's a break there for some reason.
500,000 new social
That's
rent homes.
500,000.
Where do you get the money from that?
Well, what we want to do is fund that particularly from removing the tax relief on mortgage interest for private landlords. We have a situation where private landlords at the moment are basically running away with a situation of hugely rising rents. They're collecting large amounts of housing benefit.
But how much would that be worth, the mortgage relief for private landlords?
Well, that's part of the whole costing of all of this.
Yeah, but how much will that bring? I mean, the cost of 500,000 homes. Let's start with that. How much is that going to be?
Right. Well, that's you got a total cost that will be spelt out in a manifesto.
So you don't know.
No,
you don't. Right. So we don't know how much those homes are going to cost, but the way it's going to be funded is mortgage relief from private landlords. How much is that worth?
Right. Well, what we're looking at in terms of the figures here.
Yeah.
What we need to do is actually we're looking at a total spend of 2.7 billion.
500,000 homes, 2.7. What are they made of? Plywood.
Basically, what we're talking about is 500,000 new homes, and basically each £1 spent on this brings back £2.40.
No, but what is the total cost of 500,000 homes?
It's about a cost of 60,000 per home.
60,000 per.
Because what we're talking about is the opportunity
but
for.
That can't include the land.
Well, what we're talking about is what we want to see is the possibility of homes being built.
That's not much more than a large conservatory. £60,000. So where's the land? How are you going to pay for the land?
Right. Well, what we're looking at doing is basically
Are you all right?
Sorry, yes, as you can probably hear, I've got a huge cold.
I'm terribly sorry to hear that.
Yeah. So what we need to do is basically social rental homes.
Right. Still don't see how you're going to get this sum at 60. You don't actually know how much this is going to cost, do you?
Yeah, we have a fully costed program which we'll be releasing, which we've released.
Shouldn't you be aware of what that cost would be now?
Right, yes. So what we're talking about is $6 billion a year. So the current budget is $1.5 billion a year.
$6 billion. Yeah. So that will be attained by taking mortgage relief from private landlords. That's £6 billion worth, is it?
And we're also looking at investing. Yeah, well, we've got the fully costed figures here.
You've said that on a couple of occasions. How much does mortgage relief from private landlords bring in then?
Basically, we're talking about an overall saving of £4.5 billion from the overall forms.
Mortgage relief is worth £4.5 billion a year?
And this is other savings as well from private landlords as well. We're looking at housing benefit reforms, and what we also want to do is bring in caps on private tenants.
Yeah. Do you think you might have perhaps have gemmed up on this a bit more, Natalie Bennett?
I think that we're talking about a whole range of issues.
No, but you personally, might you have gemmed up a little, might you have made into this perhaps a little more in hindsight?
Well, what we're talking about is a whole range of issues this morning, ranging from the economy, from the NHS, homes,
yes, I've only time
climate.
for two, unfortunately. I wish we had more time.
No. Thank you now for that. Now, my way of working is rudimentary, putting the computer up in front of the camera, and I apologise for that, but it's the best I can do in the present circumstances. And but you see there where this one came on with this, and I was not prepared, had no preparation, and possibly even if she did prepare, she couldn't deal with it. She couldn't actually work out the figures. She said it had cost 2.7 billion to build 500,000 homes. That's 500,000 homes. And I worked it out at £5,400 sterling. Now, if I said euros anywhere, folks, please, I meant sterling, because we deal with the euro so much here. She said that she'd build 500,000 homes for £2.7 billion sterling, and that works out at £5,400 sterling per home. And Nick Ferrari asked her, would that include the land? So you can see she wasn't prepared, didn't know what she's talking about. And like all the Greens, their case can be tackled easily if anyone would bother doing it. Nobody bothered. They get away with a fool's pardon. Now, you would think that she would either head off back to Australia, or else that stay in Britain and get a job, maybe doing waitress or a barmaid or something like that. But in fact, Theresa May, the previous Tory Prime Minister and leader, made her give her a peerage, made her a member of the House of Lords. Baroness Bennett of Manor Castle. Imagine that. Imagine coming from nothing in England, in Australia, coming from nothing in Australia, moving into England, running around with a defunct party that has only one MP, carrying out that interview, failing to get elected, and ending up a member of the House of Lords on a lifetime salary and a lifetime pension. Imagine that. So for all her stupid carry-on, she still lands a job for life. Isn't that unbelievable? And it shows you Theresa May. Were there no Conservative MPs who would give a lifetime work to the party, who could have been given that job? Instead of giving it to her, who had no loyalty to the party or nothing. It's just beggars belief that a person like that, Natalie Bennett, who's an airhead and who has such destructive influence in Britain and here in Ireland with the Labour Party, when you beat them in the fair way, in the election, when they're beaten in the election, some elected politician of a mainstream party puts them in the back door. That's happening with the Greens now too. They're in senators. There's one down in Offaly, Pippet something, is it? What's her name? And there's another one, that one there in Clare, the Garvey one. Both of them are there in the Senate. They get in whatever kind of a system we have in this country. They'll find a way of defeating the electorate. And the same in Britain in her case. They have only one MP in England out of 650. And in the United States, they ran the last time for the presidential election. They're not running this time because they were beaten home. They got nowhere. And yet they have such a colossal influence. I hope that their influence is so weak that eventually the people will turn on them. Maybe coronavirus would do that, and they'll get rid of them, and maybe even get rid of some of the politicians who have supported them. They're such a fraud, such a sham, and such a disaster for everything, for the environment and for everything else. They know there's a vote in this because of naive, silly, city-type voters, and they're exploiting that to the full. So folks, we let you go on that. That's Natalie Bennett. And give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. It's only 10 minutes, and we'll see you back for something else, hopefully a bit more less depressing than that. It is absolutely shocking stuff to watch. Thank you very much, and we'll see you back.